Welcome back to the Pokemon Premier Challenge. This is going to be a very interesting match because we have already seen one of these Pokemon, and I found a new co-caster temporarily. His name's Rayquaza. Here he is. Yeah. The reason he's here with me right now is because he's going to be in this next match. Finally, you're going to see Rayquaza on stream. It's a Pokemon that has seen a lot of use very recently, as in this past month alone. It's seen a very big uptick in its usage, and we're going to see it here on Terry Hung's team. He's got that Rayquaza and Kyogre. Very popular lead from 16 when Kyogre could Primal Evolve. We also have Incineroar, Ferrothorn, Sarina, and Togekiss. And I gotta admit, I have a soft spot for Togekiss, so I'm very excited to see it on the field. Andrew, who you're gonna be on, is gonna be on the left side here, has Yveltal, Stakataka, Incineroar, Victory Bell, Tapu Koko, and Groudon. We've already seen him a little earlier on that stream and he's been on the past couple streams. He's already ready. He's locked in. The Victory Bell has kind of become known in the area now because Victory Bell, such an unusual pick for a format, for this format. Usually people go for, I've seen tons of Venusaurs, but Victory Bell has pulled its weight through being able to take out so many different Pokemon, so many different legends, and things that are weak to poison. It definitely was an MVP in just being a very interesting Pokemon. We're going to see the Tapu Koko and Yveltal lead here on Andrew's side. Terry's going to go for Kyogre and Rayquaza, going to go for the double restricted lead. Only non-restricted mon on the field right now is that Tapu Koko. We also know that Kyogre does have that Choice Scarf on Terry's side right away because it was able to outspeed the electric terrain. And then there's the Dark Aura, and there's the Airlock. So now we know the exact order of Kyogre, Tapu Koko, Yveltal, Rayquaza. So now that we know that this Kyogre outspeeds, we do know that Yveltal, the other dark type that's everywhere, Sucker Punch is a huge move. When you keep Sucker Punch in mind, the first thing when you use Sucker Punch, the first thing is, how can I cripple Kyogre with this? Water Spout is a huge in usage with Kyogre, and Sucker Punch will immediately remove that. But I'm not sure that Terry will end up going for the Water Spout right away. The rain is gone thanks to Rayquaza, and he's just gonna switch out that Kyogre, and he's sending out and the Incineroar. I absolutely. That is, I'm going to probably say that a lot because that is one of the most fun names I've seen. It's going to go for Volt Switch this time. It is going to go onto the Rayquaza. It is normally affected in the electric terrain. Does a decent amount there, more than you would expect from something that's as bulky as Rayquaza. More like an 8. It looks like about an 8th of damage, maybe 6th. You're going to see Jackson Finch the Incineroar from Andrew's side. I got to tell you, I've seen this thing, and every single time I think I've said its name wrong. I'm sorry. I always think Jackson Flinch because it's a pun. Incineroar's got a fake out. It's a pun. But no, it's actually Jackson Finch. We're going to see Yveltal on Andrew's side go for that Tailwind. And Icy Wind coming out from Terry's Rayquaza. Or Rayquaza. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I like Rayquaza better, so that's what we're going to go with. I don't know the exact way, though. And we are going to see a critical hit, plus we're going to see a super effective hit. Doesn't do a lot, but still taking out a quarter of the health there from Yveltal. Just about a little over a quarter of its health, though. Now, even though it was that Icy Wind, Yveltal and Incineroar might have, and we're going to see Rayquaza switch up, but and you don't. And that is Sarina. There is the fake out. And thanks to Sarina's Queenly Majesty, that is not in play because Queenly Majesty stops priority. Also, an Agave Berry, which was Sarina's item, is knocked off thanks to Yveltal. And we will see U-turn from Terry's Incineroar going onto the Yveltal slot. And now Terry's got to free switch it to whatever he needs. And he's going to bring out back that Kyogre. Don't forget, we know the Kyogre Scarf because it outsped Koko, and the Scarf gives you +1 speed, just like Yveltal and Incineroar have, thanks to Rayquaza's Icy Wind. So with the Rayquaza, Rayquaza's speed is going to be, or I'm sorry, not Rayquaza, Yveltal speed, that's what I'm talking about, the Bacon Bird. Yveltal speed is going to be very important here, because if Kyogre is able to outspeed it, we're going to see the Incineroar switch out, but if Kyogre is able to outspeed it, it'll be able to get a really powerful Water Spout or Origin Pulse onto it. It does have Sucker Punch. We're going to see a switch out from the Incineroar, and we're going to see Andrew switch into Tapu Koko, Terry switch into Rayquaza. We're going to go for that knockoff onto the Kyogre. Also outspeeds, and there's the Choice Scarf reveal. And we're going to see Water Spout from Terry. That'll do 50% of its normal damage, plus with the Airlock from Rayquaza, that's not going to do a lot onto either Pokemon. Andrew did a good play with that knockoff. Maybe Terry was expecting a Sucker Punch or a different move, but a very well done job for Andrew of keeping that Water Spout at a low health. But the knockoff does mean Kyogre can go for another move, not Water Spout this time. But it's going to switch out regardless. And we're going to see it go into that Incineroar slot once again. Intimidate coming out. That does help on Yveltal, who had knockoff. We saw that earlier, so we know it's a physical attacker, at least in some sense. And Koko, on the other hand, does not have any real. And there we go. We're going to see a Volt Switch onto Incineroar. Does again about looks like a sixth of the damage, maybe a quarter. It's hard to judge by the bar alone, but it does a decent amount for being a move that's mainly just to get out. And we are going to see Andrew's Incineroar return to the field, get that Intimidate back on Terry's own Incineroar. And the Rayquaza, which can be... Rayquaza's interesting because it can run two different types of sets. It can run Extreme Speed, and we're going to see the Assault Vest come out from Rayquaza. Now we know it's item Icy Wind returning, meaning that Yveltal is going to be at -2 and surviving with 20 HP. Incineroar at -1 in speed, so Terry's team does outspeed, and I believe the Tailwind, if it runs out this turn, there it is. There is the Tailwind run out. So Terry has a good match here in speed, but in numbers they're both equal with 4 Pokemon to 4 Pokemon. Andrew has to be a little careful with that Bacon Bird. It is at not only minus attack, minus speed, it's definitely crippled at the moment. Andrew's Incineroar is able to go for Fake Out as well, and I don't know if we saw Terry switch in this last turn. I believe it might have been the turn before, but if Terry switched in this last turn, he will be able to go for Fake Out as well, if needed. And we are going to see the switch out of Rayquaza from Terry's side. That will not stay in. It's going to switch into Sarina, preventing the Fake Out from Andrew's side once again, if it decides to go for it. And the switch into Smeargle, no! That is the Tapu Koko. That is the Tapu Koko. It's preventing the Smeargle. The reason it's called Smeargle, no. Electric Terrain prevents Smeargle from putting on any sleep onto it. No Spore, no Lovely Kiss. And we're going to see Incineroar from Terry's side get out of there with a U-turn onto Tapu Koko. And now Terry has, knowing that Andrew has the Koko Incineroar combo, a very common combo in this format, he's now able to adjust to that properly. Gonna bring in Present Day. That is the Rayquaza. And Rayquaza is going to remove that rain that was on, but it ends anyway, so that was useful. And the Electric Terrain is gone. Terry still has the upper hand in speed, with the exception, the only thing, yes, the Incineroar is at -1, but Tapu Koko just switched in, and it's a very fast Pokemon. It is able to outspeed both of Terry's Pokemon. It also can carry Wide Guard or Electro Web, moves that hit both of Terry's. Terry getting a taste of his own medicine after going for Ice Beam so many times. Now he's going to have his own speed dropped with Electro Web. Icy, and there you go. See, there's the Icy Web. We just pretty much did the exact same speed. So speeds do not matter, because both of every single Pokemon on the field that got hit with a move that lowers speed. High Jump Kick. That is a risky play, but it's going to pay off for Terry as he connects with that Incineroar, and the Incineroar will survive with 5 HP. Gonna eat its berry. And now it's back to 105 HP. And we are gonna see that Incineroar go onto the Sarina with a U-turn. Sarina will survive it, but Incineroar is able to get out. And now, whatever Pokemon Andrew brings in will have a speed advantage. Every single Pokemon on the field right now is at -1, except this Please Nerf. That's a Victory Bell. Also one of my favorite names. Please nerf the Victory Bell. Love it. In this case, Victory Bell does have a speed advantage because it is able... Coco and Rayquaza and Sarina all have -1 speed. Victory Bell can either hit something if Terry decides to switch like that, and that's going to switch into the Incineroar slot, though the Intimidate not going to do very much on either Pokemon's, or not going to affect either Pokemon very much. Neither of them go for physical attacks. But now, Andrew having the speed advantage here, Feints coming on to the Victory Bell, possibly expecting it to stay in, or possibly expecting it to protect this turn. Sludge Bomb going on to the Incineroar slot and poisoning it, putting a timer on Incineroar, and Volt Switch for Tapu Koko will remove its speed and finish the Sarina. Sarina is out, and Koko has reset its speed back to normal after being at -1. And now, with Andrew at that with the 4 Pokemon lead right now, compared to Terry's 3. He's going to bring out his own Incineroar, Fake Out, now finally being able to be played, thanks to knocking out Terry's Sarina, removing Queenly Majesty. And now we're going to see the poison damage from Terry. Does a lot more than I actually expected, but it is able to give him more health. So that's kind of the ultimate twist there. Poisoning actually helping you out. That Incineroar will get that berry and it will survive for another few more, or maybe for another few more turns, because it's back up to over, or just around 75% of health. We're gonna see Kyogre switch back into Terry's side. Don't forget that Kyogre did have the Choice Scarf, but that Choice Scarf is no longer in play because of the knockoff from Andrew's side. It does carry Water Spout. We don't know anything else. That is all we know about this Kyogre. So it's definitely still shrouded in mystery. Andrew, on the other side, has Please Nerf that with Grass Knot or whatever move it has on. It is able to hit Coco. I'm sorry, not Coco, Kyogre, or massive damage, but Terry sees that. He's going to switch out back to Rayquaza. Rayquaza being at around a 6th health, maybe a bit more or less. Yeah, it'll remove the rain, but... yeah, it's not really going to matter for any of these Pokemon on the field right now. Andrew going to get out of his Incineroar, and he will switch it. We've seen the Yveltal and we've seen the Tapu Koko. What will Andrew go for? Gonna switch into the Tapu Koko there. It is the fastest on the field at the moment compared to everything else. And if it carries Dazzling Gleam, as most Kokos do, it's able to hit Rayquaza for super effective damage. Actually, I take that back about Dazzling Gleam. In this format, you don't know about Dazzling Gleam. Thunderbolt or some sort of electric attack, like we've seen with Electro Web. And I don't know if we've seen Volt Switch. We might have yet. That might have been how it switched out, but either way, with that electric attack, that's to counter Kyogres, and then you sometimes carry a fairy attack. But since so many, like, Xerneas and stuff are on the field, if you use a Xerneas and Koko, there's no use for a fairy attack. So it's interesting. Koko has seen a and we're going to see Volt Switch onto the Rayquaza. It is a knockout. So not only is Andrew getting that boost by knocking out Rayquaza, but he's also going to be able to switch into a better position, keeping in mind that Kyogre and Kyogre and Incineroar are the last 2 Pokemon on Terry's side. Gonna switch into Yveltal. Yveltal, with Sucker Punch, we know that Kyogre has a very little amount of HP. We're gonna see Weather Ball from Andrew's Victory Bell, and that is going to do a lot of damage thanks to the rain. Being able to take advantage of that, we see the Life Orb. In this case, Terry now down to the Kyogre against something with Sucker Punch that did a lot of damage last time. Or that was a knockoff, excuse me. So still, Sucker Punch does a lot of damage. And Victory Bell, which resists Kyogre's attacks besides Ice Beam, and is able to go and hit it with a Grass attack. And the towel is being tossed in. Andrew Weaver is going to take match number 1 in our top 4 here. One more win for Andrew, and he will go to our finals. Terry can still catch this up, though. It is not over until the end of this match. Nothing is predictable in Pokemon. So let's get into this second match of round. Oh, actually, it's not real. I don't know what round it is. It's the top 4. Terry is has that Togekiss that has been intriguing me. Didn't bring it in this last match, and it's very interesting because it is able to take a lot of hits. There's very few Pokemon on Andrew's side that hit two things. The only two being Precipice Blades on Groudon, which with Precipice Blades, your Togekiss isn't going to get hit, but Rock Slide on Stakataka, definitely Stakataka being what seems to be the biggest counter to Togekiss. Very interesting though that like I said, I love Togekiss. So I'm very curious to see what Terry can do with that. Meanwhile, Andrew being very creative, bringing in Victory Bell without Groudon, I believe. Yeah, we saw his Yveltal and Incineroar Koko and Victory Bell. No Groudon, so he's proving that Victory Bell can last its own in this format. Does not need the boost from weather. You're good. That Victory Bell, it can take some hits. Definitely, and it's called Please Nerf for a reason. There you go. Andrew is ready. Took more time than the last round to submit his Pokemon. Terry taking a lot of time as well, but you have to take a lot of time if you're in this position. Terry, he has to win every match now in this round to move on to the finals. And in the last round, he did win 2-1. And I believe that he won the last two matches. So that proves Terry is fantastic at adjustments. Definitely a shot that he's going to be able to use make those adjustments properly. Take out Andrew's threats, such as Groudon and Yveltal. And he's going to lead with Bacon Bird, the Yveltal, and Smeargle No, the Tapu Koko. Terry this time going to go with Present Day and. That's so much fun to say. That's Incineroar and Rayquaza. We're going to see every single one of these Pokemon has an ability that pops up, so we're going to see that the Tapu Koko's first, followed by Yveltal. So Andrew having the speed advantage here. Terry going to go for Airlock on that with that Rayquaza and Intimidate on Incineroar. He is slower, but Incineroar is able to fake out this turn, and that is going to be very useful. That can allow Rayquaza to do whatever it needs to. If there's a lot of things here, there's nothing, although we have a lot of strong Pokemon on the field, besides Tapu Koko, if it ends up going for Dazzling Gleam, nothing is super effective, I believe. We haven't really, except for see Fake Out, that's going to go onto Tapu Koko. So, Knockoff from Yveltal is going to go on to Rayquaza, and we're going to see Rayquaza and that Assault Vest once again, and there's the Icy Wind. So that's super effective, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. Nothing can really knock out here on these Pokemon. So it's very interesting because, and we're going to see the speed drop, so now that changes some things about the order of moves. But seeing these, there's not anything that really one-hit KO, or it'll take some time before they're able to knock out. It definitely is an interesting thing because it's definitely interesting to watch because this could go either way. There's no real threats on the field, so you really have to think, okay, what's my best strategy? Do I switch? Do I attack? And both of the players on the field have to do that. We're going to see switching Terry's Rayquaza into Sarina, and we're going to see Yveltal switch into Incineroar. So, Incineroar, good position to intimidate, as both of Terry's Pokemon are physical attackers. And that attack drop is going to definitely benefit, but it cannot go for Fake Out on this next turn thanks to Sarina. Volt Switch onto Sarina does a very minimal amount of damage, but it will remove Tapu Koko. Could bring in a few things. We've seen the Yveltal, and if Andrew's going to copy his team from the last round, he has Victory Bell in the back, but that Victory Bell isn't a lock yet. There it is. Okay, it's a lie. That Victory Bell is the last mon, which means Andrew is using the same Pokemon from the last round. U-turn onto Victory Bell. It is not super effective, although, and I forgot about that, Poison does resist Bug, but the more important part there, U-turn, Volt Switch, all those types of moves, it doesn't really matter about the damage. It's usually just chip damage. There's a good the reason that's on there is to get out of there. We're gonna see it switch present time. That is the Kyogre from Terry's side. We know it's Scarfed, and that Scarf is gonna definitely be useful, but that Victory Bell is going to be a huge threat to Kyogre with that whatever grass move it's carrying, it could be Grass Knot or Energy Ball. Those two, most likely it's Grass Knot. Kyogre's very, very heavy. And I know we've seen Andrew's Victory Bell on. I believe it had a Grass Knot earlier. Not entirely sure though. As for Terry, we're going to see that Kyogre acting as bait there for the Incineroar slot. So Terry able to get another Intimidate out on Andrew. And that's very useful because Andrew's Incineroar has Intimidate, or needs that Intimidate to get neutralized there. The Grass Knot, there's the Grass Knot, so there's my answer to what grass move it's carrying. And Grass Knot onto a light Pokemon that resists it, not going to do a lot of damage. U-turn coming out from Sarina. That's a move you don't really see too much on Sarina, but it is a very wise move because it allows Terry to get into a better position here. And if we see that, we're going to see Present Day. I believe that's the Rayquaza. Yes, it is. And Rayquaza at half health. Excuse me. At half health. It's gonna be in. At half health, it's not going to be able to take very many more attacks there. Even from Victory Bell, Victory Bell, you know, carries Sludge Bomb, so that might be able to knock out Rayquaza. We're going to see Andrew now switch out his Incineroar, getting rid of that Intimidate, going into Yveltal now. Yveltal is going to be able to possibly threaten Rayquaza by outspeeding it. It really depends. Yveltal's a very versatile Pokemon. It can do a lot of things and have a lot of sets. So if it's a plus speed investment, then yeah, you're going to go for it. You can try and knock out the Rayquaza, but if Rayquaza outspeeds, you gotta be careful. Rayquaza, again, very versatile. You don't see it much. Most Rayquazas, I don't actually know the set on them because every Rayquaza I've seen has been on a different kind of team. So you never know with Rayquaza. We're gonna see the Incineroar switch back in. Rayquaza, usually a physical attacker, but we've seen it carry Icy Wind, so it could be mixed or special. Can't really judge if that Intimidate is going to be useful there, but it will for the Incineroar slot. Andrew going to protect his Yveltal there, and Fake Out coming out onto the Yveltal won't do anything, which means we're going to see Icy Wind from Rayquaza. Free hit. Andrew, his Incineroar already is relatively slow. The Icy Wind isn't going to really matter too much when it comes to that type of speed, and it does literally 11 damage, so wow. Icy Wind overpowers a 20-hit KO on Incineroar. No, it actually is a very good move. That Incineroar, knowing that slower, could give Terry a lead later in the match. We have been playing for quite a while now as well. I don't know how many turns we've been into, but regardless, both of these players are still at 4 Pokemon. That is absolutely amazing to be able to. I mean, we've at least been playing for like 4 or 5 turns because the reign's going to end at the end of the next turn. Switching back to Sarina, Andrew cannot Fake Out anymore. Sucker Punch, though, is the move that was going to be neutralized because of Queenly Majesty. And it's going to fail anyway, though, because it was going out to the Sarina slot. U-turn going on to Terry's Incineroar from Andrew's Incineroar. We are going to see, we don't know, we have Victory Bell on top of Coco in the back. Usually we haven't seen Coco since like the very beginning of this match, really. It feels like forever ago that we've seen Tapu Koko, although the electric terrain's still up, so it hasn't been that long. And finally, we're going to see it come back in. U-turn coming out from that Incineroar, going on to Yveltal, and Yveltal's going to take some damage from that. But that's, again, not the main point of U-turn, never is the main point of U-turn. It's to get out into a better position. Present time is the Kyogre at full health and is scarfed. Andrew in a good place here. Terry in a good place here to counter Andrew's team. Sarina preventing any priority attack from hitting Kyogre, and Kyogre knowing it's fastest on the field. Not much Andrew can do except switch or protect. Or if this Coco somehow survives an Origin Pulse or a Water Spout. It's actually, you know what? To forget that Kyogre, Terry switching it back into Incineroar. I think 90%, it feels like 90% of this match has been just switches. Now, this is actually very fun to watch, though. Intimidate's going around left and right. And we're going to see, wow, that crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now the Intimidate will matter on Terry's side, but that's about it. No Intimidate on Andrew's side at the moment. Terry's side is still Terry Side still has that Intimidate on both of his physical attackers. Electro Web from Tapu Koko is going to do more chip damage onto both of these guys. No real knockout or anything. But it will lower their speed, meaning Andrew now has the upper hand in speed with his own Incineroar. And if the rain runs out this turn, which I think... Oh, okay, we're going to see Sarina. I'm sorry, I thought Sarina switched in this turn. It did not. It's going to go for Power Whip on the Tapu Koko. And Coco's going to survive with 46 HP, and the rain is gone. And Flare Blitz is powered back up. Especially against Sarina, that can be a huge, huge advantage. But Koko is the fastest Pokemon on the field. It can go in. We don't really know what it will do though. We've seen it go for Electro Web pretty much every time it's been in play here. We don't know what other moves it carries. As for Incineroar, it's pretty much used every single one of its moves. We've seen tons and tons and tons of U-turns and fake outs being completely neutralized. We're gonna see present day. That is the Rayquaza coming out from Terry's side. Terry must be banking on the fact that we're gonna see Tapu Koko. It went for the Sky Drop, but Rayquaza too heavy to lift up. Not gonna get that immobilization for the turn. And Koko, although Incineroar was able to knock out Terry's Sarina, so that gives Andrew, I believe, I don't remember if his Yveltal was knocked out quite yet. And I know he's still got the Victory Bell on the back. So either Andrew is now tied it up with Terry, 3-3, or he's got that lead. He still has the 4 Pokemon in the back, so he still has the lead in numbers. But Terry coming in and putting so much pressure with putting so much pressure with Kyogre. Choice Scarf Kyogre, it doesn't really matter what move it's going to use, it's threatening. Because it outspeeds everything. Unless Andrew is carrying Choice Scarf on top of Koko, which I believe we've seen the Sky Drop and Electro Web. It doesn't. There's the Water Spout. Andrew is going to get his first 2 Pokemon knocked out. Thanks to Terry's Kyogre. What is this Rayquaza going to do? It really doesn't have anything else to do. It's going to go for Icy Wind, but it failed. So now Andrew's forced to bring his last 2. That's Yveltal, and that is Victory Bell. Now with the Sarina knockout, Yveltal, knowing that Terry's Kyogre is Choice Scarf, will be a very important thing here. Knowing that they can go for a free Sucker Punch and remove a lot of damage from that Water Spout, then possibly using Victory Bell to attack and knock out one of Terry's Pokemon might be a strategy. It could be something he's thinking about. Terry, that Kyogre, we know it's Scarfed, and he's not been shy about switching it out. So will he end up switching it back out? If he does, it'll go into Incineroar. That won't necessarily help anyone. That Incineroar won't help him here. There's a Sucker Punch. And Water Spout at less than 50% in the rain, although the Airlock from Rayquaza is going to make sure that Andrew's Pokemon survive that Water Spout. Icy Wind coming out from Terry's Rayquaza. That is going to be super effective on both of Andrew's Pokemon. And it will knock out the Victory Bell and lower the speed on Yveltal. Andrew, I believe he's down, excuse me. He is down to his final Pokemon in this 28 health Yveltal. Terry coming back from behind in the advantage in numbers. He was 4-3, and now he's 3-1. Especially with the Pokemon that does have the Choice Scarf, and you know it's gonna move first. Now I'm curious to see. We're gonna see the Kyogre switch and wants to get into a more favorable position. Doesn't want that Sucker Punch incoming, and we are also going to see an Intimidate onto the Yveltal, which is the Yveltal we know is a physical attacker with that Sucker Punch. It's not going to do anything. Icy Wind does have a chance to miss, but it didn't. And with that, Terry has adjusted properly, forcing this match going 1-1. We're going to the 3rd and final game. Whoever wins this next game will move on to our finals. Get ready, because we're going to be in for a really good match. Terry was able to adjust very well there, going for the double restricted lead of Rayquaza and Kyogre. With that, he was able to pull out Icy Winds, forcing tons and tons and tons of switches throughout the match, and Intimidates, and going back and forth, but overall, Terry getting in a good position with that Kyogre. Ultimately, as soon as that Kyogre came in, it can steamroll your team. Just like Xerneas can with Geomancy, Kyogre is one of the other most popular sweepers in this game, and you just saw it swept pretty much an entirety of Andrew's team. It definitely helped that, and Rayquaza's Icy Wind definitely made sure that Andrew would not get to see any of his Pokemon at the end of that match. Andrew is locked in relatively quickly. He's ready to go. Andrew, we haven't seen the Groudon yet at all. We haven't seen Stakataka either. Terry's side, no Togekiss, no Ferrothorn. We've seen the same 4 Pokemon in this twice in a row. Now, because nothing is predictable, it might be a good time for either one of these two to bring in one of those Pokemon that haven't seen the light of day yet in this matchup.
They try to play the Blue Eyes, bro.
Now, so one thing that I think that has been really fun to watch between these two as well was the Intimidate Wars. We've seen Incineroar switch in, switch out, switch in, switch out, especially when on Andrew's side you have Incineroar and you have Yveltal. Those are both weak or get crippled from Intimidate. On Terry's side, possibly Rayquaza, though we haven't seen any physical moves yet. I know it's known for carrying extreme speed, so that's a possibility. I don't know if it has that, though. But Incineroar, Sarina, and Ferrothorn on Terry's side all get crippled from Intimidate as well. So let's get into this final battle here. Whoever wins this goes to our finals, so you'll see them on stream in just a second at the end of this match as well. So let's get right into it. We're going to see Yveltal, Tapu Koko lead from Andrew's side. Terry is going to go for the lead of present day and that is the Rayquaza and the Incineroar. So Fake Out is going to be something that Terry could use. We're going to see that Andrew's Koko will go first. That will be followed by his own Yveltal. Then it will be Rayquaza. Then it will be Incineroar. But you got to keep in mind, Fake Out, that's going to completely ignore everything I just said for a single turn and will prevent Andrew from making a play right away. We know Yveltal so far has been able to knock off every single match. It is knocked off right away on Terry's Rayquaza. We know it has the Assault Vest because of that. And we're going to see Nature's Madness this time from Nature's Madness onto the Rayquaza, and we know that knockoff does 50%. If this is a double target, that Rayquaza will not live. And there is... Yeah, I'll take that back entirely. Rayquaza is going to survive with just a sliver of HP left. And we'll go for that Icy Wind. It is going to lower the speed on both of the opposing Pokemon, especially for Yveltal and Koko, who are naturally fast. That is very useful. Knockoff, it will be resisted onto this Koko, but it does do... Gonna show the Assault Vest on Tapu Koko for the first time as well. Now, I don't know the speed tier again because we know Terry, with that Icy Wind hit, that could change a lot of things. Whatever it is, though, that Rayquaza, we've seen it now down to that red health. Terry has been a master of switching, so he could end up going for switching. He can go for, and there's that switch, yeah. Like I said, we've seen him switch very nicely. We're going to see a Togekiss, finally. It's a shiny Togekiss. Togekiss is shiny. I don't, it's very hard to understand. We're going to see the Volt switch onto the Togekiss does a little less than 50%. Togekiss's shinies is like, hey, you know what, let's just put it in a mirror. The colors on its ears end up switching, so. We're gonna also see that Victory Bell return to the field. Knocking off the Incineroar's Figgy Berry is Andrew's Yveltal, and U-turn getting out of there. Getting that Incineroar out of there. It is going to be able to go into a more favorable position. We know it has Rayquaza, and present time is Kyogre, so we now know Terry's final Pokemon. Not going to see Ferrothorn in this match, although it's kind of smart because the only thing it really would be useful against would be Groudon and possibly Victory Bell in the Sun. Also Koko, maybe. The rest of it really don't counter that Ferrothorn well. Togekiss finally going to see some love. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love Togekiss. So let's see what it can do. A lot of options. Tailwind as a Togekiss player myself, I know Tailwind, Air Slash, Follow Me, all very common moves on Togekiss. And with Andrew not having the ability to double attack, so far we've seen all of the moves on his Pokemon, I believe. There's not really anything we're going to see. Oh, except Andrew bringing in Terran, that Groudon, and now any weather boost from the rain that Kyogre has gotten is gone, and we're going to see a Protect on Victory Bell, making sure to live to see its speed boost. Follow Me on Togekiss will not go and play this turn, and Terry is going to be able to get a free Water Spout out. Now that Kyogre is threatened, though, because Victory Bell has double the speed it normally would have thanks to Groudon's drought, and we're going to see Groudon with that Citrus Berry. Might be able to take another Water Spout from in the sun then. Or that might not matter because we also have the Victory Bell. Even if the Choice Scarf is on the Kyogre, which it is, Victory Bell will be able to outspeed at +2, I believe so at least. So let us see what happens here. Groudon can go for Precipice Blades, not really so much because it cannot hit the Togekiss. And we don't actually know, besides Precipice Blades, we don't know anything that the Groudon can go for. We're going to see the switch out from Terry's Kyogre going back into Incineroar now. Going to lower the attack on Groudon. And on Victory Bell, which doesn't do much, but switching from a water into a fire type is going to, and we're going to see Andrew switch out for his Groudon Tapu Koko. And we're going to see Sludge Bomb go onto Victory Bell, or from Victory Bell onto the Togekiss, and Togekiss is gone. At least I got to see it on stream. I'm happy with that. And now Terry has the opportunity to go into a more favorable position, even though his Togekiss was knocked out. We know that he's shown both of his remaining legends, Rayquaza and Kyogre, in the back, bringing present time. That is the Kyogre. So Victory Bell for another turn is once again, now thanks to the Drizzle, Victory Bell is slower than everything else, pretty much everything else on the field, maybe outspeeding Incineroar. And we know that Koko is also threatened by that Choice Scarf on Kyogre. Kyogre definitely has an opportunity to get a knockout onto if it's able to pull off a successful Water Spout, but Andrew has 4 Pokemon still, one of those being Groudon. Groudon switching, it will reset up the sun, it'll also get Victory Bell speed back up, and we know Terry has been known to switch out his Kyogre as soon as it goes in. We've seen that twice in the last match. Let us see. We're going to see the Tapu Koko switch out this time. Back into Groudon. So Groudon going to set up that sun again. The Citrus Berry might be enough recovery might be enough to survive a Water Spout. And Victory Bell going to protect to ensure that it outspeeds Kyogre on the next turn. Fake Out coming out onto the Victory Bell, but it's not going to hit because it's Protect. And Water Spout from Terry's Kyogre. This is intense. I don't know if Groudon at this health can take it. We saw it do just around half last time. And the Groudon survives this 21 HP. Now with this, we know that please nerf that Victory Bell is going to be fastest on the field thanks to the sun, and it threatens Kyogre. It absolutely threatens Kyogre, and that is why that Kyogre is switching out. We're going to see it switch out into Rayquaza at that sliver of HP. Andrew now going to go for Grass Knot. Even if it switched into Rayquaza, that's going to do it. That little tiny bit of HP Rayquaza had is now gone, and Terry is now locked into his Kyogre and Incineroar for the last 2 Pokemon. And a Precipice Blades. The Groudon just switched in. It is not at -1, and besides, Incineroar was that some chip damage. Absolutely, that Precipice Blades was going to knock out that Incineroar. Terry now going to be stuck with the Kyogre against Andrew's combo of the Sun, the Groudon, and the Victory Bell. So Terry has the speed advantage here, but Andrew has the advantage in numbers, carrying all 4 of his Pokemon. Terry could go for a double attacking move. Not too sure how much Water Spout or Origin Pulse will do, especially onto a grass type that resists it. It will, if it hits, it will knock out the Groudon though, so it's not a huge threat. But they want that Sun still up. We're going to see Tapu Koko switch in now from Andrew's side. And the Electric Terrain returning to the field. Water Spout in the rain. That's enough to knock out that Koko, but is not enough to knock out the Victory Bell. I sounded like I was speaking gibberish. I messed up my words. Not enough to knock out the Victory Bell. This Grass Knot is going to... That's it. Even though Kyogre survived that hit, Water Spout at just like 20 HP or so does such a little amount at bringing out the Sun to cripple it even more. The thing here though, Terry is facing two Pokemon with very little HP, so he can't. If Water Spout, if he hits it, we know it's got the Scarf. It might actually be able to knock out both of Andrew's Pokemon, leaving him with one more. But it doesn't matter because that Victory Bell outspeeds and that Kyogre is gone. Andrew Weaver advances to our Premier Challenge Finals. Terry Hung giving it a great effort. A great effort. What a match. What a match. As we wait for this. There we go. What a match that was. There was really no calling how that would end. And that is exactly how we saw tons of adjustments there, tons of switching. We even saw in the second game in Intimidate Wars, a really fun match there for both of the players. Props to both of them. Andrew's going to move on to the finals, so you'll see him in just a moment playing for the ultimate prize of championship points today. Who will he be facing? Stick around to find out.